Welcome everybody to today's Oracle Backup Recovery Office Hours session for September 2025. My name is Tim Chen. We're going to go through a preview of Oracle AI World, the events for backup recovery technologies. We're going to look at a new hardware offering called the Zero Data Loss Recovery Appliance RA23-Z. And we're also going to take a look at the latest update for Oracle supplied cloud backup modules and the options that you have running these in cloud. Okay, and then any Q&A, please use the Q&A function in the webinar. We'll also have time at the end for any questions. Okay. All right. So first thing I'd like to highlight is a new web page. Okay, so we actually have a Oracle Database Protection and Ransom Resiliency central page on oracle.com. You can see the URL there. We'll also paste it in the chat. But this is where you can kind of go to in one stop to see all of our on-premises and cloud technologies for ransomware resiliency and recovery. These are huge topics these days. You've probably been hearing our sessions around this area. So backup recovery has now evolved to really being center point for ransomware discussions because everything is lost and you don't have any other recourse. You do have to recover, and you have to be able to prove that you can recover, and recovery has to be without data loss if at all possible. So these factors with cyber attacks and how we're seeing those on a day-to-day basis, even Oracle databases getting attacked that we've encountered in our engagements, that you really need to be very watchful and very diligent in looking after technologies that really can protect your Oracle database. So please take a look at that page. Our question feature in the session is also always available if you want to ask a question to us, and we can then respond. So first of all, go through our upcoming Oracle conference, Oracle AI World, and a preview of the Oracle Backup Recovery events that we're going to hold. It's October 13th through 16th in Las Vegas. So we're having a number of invite-only customer events. So these are held on Monday, October 13th. The first one I'll talk about is the Zero Data Loss and Ransomware Resilience Roundtable. This will be for on-premises and multi-cloud environments. It's at 1 o'clock at the Venetian Conference Center. That's where the conference is being held in general. But this is our second year running this roundtable. It's a very interactive, kind of more intimate way to kind of get the latest of our security and recovery technology and products, and also be able to hear from other customers, especially face-to-face meetings and networking. That's kind of a big draw for these events, is you really get to meet customers that you may not otherwise have a chance to, because everyone's there at the conference, and ask them what they do. You know, what are their challenges? How do they implement practices? How do they use our technologies in their environment? So it's a great opportunity to learn from each other here. The audience for this event is existing and prospective recovery appliance recovery service customers. If you've not heard about our products there, then please visit that page I just showed. You can learn more. If you're curious and you're looking for database protection solutions that are offer you better protection, lower recovery point objectives and recovery time objectives, and really tailored for understanding the recovery consistency and sort of the reliability of recovery, please let us know. Please let us know that you want to attend. I'll kind of show at the end how you can register your request on this session. So this roundtable, again, you'll gain an understanding of the resilient architectures that we offer for on-premises OCI multi-cloud environments. You'll get a sort of a look and a bit more depth into the DB security, recovery appliance, and recovery service technologies, so you can see how they work in those environments and how you can utilize them for your environment and how they can optimize for your workloads. We're also going to discuss strategies for air gap protection and clean room recovery. These are very much common themes in our ransomware recovery discussions that we have with customers. Air gap protection means you have an isolated facility location that is network separated. Basically, it's invisible to the production and disaster recovery and any other environments. And the purpose of the air gapped location is it's another copy of your backup that gets synchronized on some basis. It's not continuously connected to get the latest backups from the production or DR locations for recovery appliance, but there are moments when it needs to be connected so you can synchronize right with the latest backup. So the air gap protection gives you that network isolation, and we're going to discuss how customers have done this, and you can ask questions as well, how they've done it. Clean room recovery is a sort of companion to the air gap. That is, once I have backups in a air gap location, in the event of a compromise, say in production, I may not have the ability to use the production immediately for recovery. Perhaps the compromise needs to be analyzed and for forensics and understanding how it happened, where it happened, and so you can't wait necessarily for the forensics and investigation to finish. In many cases, so you do need a clean room, which is basically a new environment that is kind of pre-set up with hardware, with the your production database servers, for example, Exadata in a lot of cases with our customers, to just support the minimum viable business applications, right? So it's almost like another small DR location, if you will, but it is really meant as a immediate method to restore from the vault. So the clean room doesn't have access to any other environments as well. It's really strictly for that. And so we're seeing these two come up in a lot of conversations, and how do we do it? What kind of components and costs and so forth are involved there. So that is the themes for that session. The next session I'll talk about is our recovery appliance CAB, or we call it Customer Advisory Board meeting at 2:45. That's following the roundtable. This is the third event we're having in the CAB meeting series, and this has been very useful for existing recovery appliance customers. There are various CABs done for other database products and areas in our in our portfolio. This one is specifically for recovery appliance customers with at least 1 year of operational experience. And so it is, again, a small, more intimate gathering of customers where we'll give the latest product updates. We'll talk about some real world use cases. Customers will actually present as well on those. And you can provide direct feedback to us in development to help refine our product strategy and investment. So it's a great time to see each other in person and to have open discussions. And we want to take advantage, right, of this opportunity and really get to know our customers, in that basis, and understand your needs really in our product roadmap. The third event I want to highlight is the Recovery Service Customer Forum. It is at 4:45 and it follows the CAB meeting. This is strictly, and primarily focused for existing and prospective recovery service customers. This is our data protection backup recovery service in an OCI multi-cloud. It's also called Autonomous Recovery Service. You might have seen that. But this is basically a new service. It's been actually available for over 2 years now, and built on recovery appliance technology. So recovery appliance has many benefits for database protection, incremental forever, zero data loss, obviously, where we're capturing the latest minute transactions and be able to recover to that point in time with very little sub-second worth of data loss, and also validation to be able to continually validate, make sure backups are restorable. All those features and capabilities are in the recovery service for cloud databases. So this is basically our recovery appliance in the cloud solution for OCI database services customers. That is ExaDBD, BaseDB, and ADBD users. So you'll learn about the latest cloud backup recovery capabilities in the service. And of course, you'll have a chance to provide feedback to us on your business and product challenges uh, in this area. That is, to adopt OCI multi-cloud in general in transitioning from a legacy backup solution to recovery service. We want to hear any and all things on your mind regarding your data protection requirements and needs. So we're excited to have these three very special events. We get to host them in a smaller, intimate environments, as I mentioned. You get to network with your industry peers and operational practice and experiences. There is a limited space available. If you are interested, if you all be attending AI World, and you can make the Monday, that's the day before the conference starts, on Tuesday the 14th. Send us your request to attend using the Ask a Question on this office hours page. There's a little selection, an area where you can log a question, will be sent to us, and then we'll be able to review it. So right now we're just gathering requests to attend, and then we'll get back to you. So provide your email, which sessions you'd like to attend, and we will get back to you. Now, for the rest of the week, we have our sort of standard hands-on lab, learning sessions, and demos from our recovery appliance, recovery service technologies area. So we have a session for the hands-on lab on Wednesday, October 15th, that is protecting and recovering databases from ransomware using recovery service. And you're going to use Oracle Database 23AI with the automatic backup facilities, real-time protection, and backup immutability. And this will also include DB at Azure environments. We really want to try to highlight the multi-cloud part of this, because we know customers have lots of choices and they may already have a strategic cloud provider that they're with. Today, the recovery service supports DB at Azure and DB at GCP or Google Cloud Platform. And so we want to make this available where you need it. And so this is always a popular session. You can subscribe to this on the AI World session catalog. You can register your interest there, and then this is open to any of the attendees going. The second session I want to highlight is the recovery service zero data loss protection for cloud and on-premises databases learning session. This is on 15th as well, 2:15 p.m. You're going to learn how recovery service protects databases for on-premises, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, and AWS. We expect AWS support for recovery service to come in the near future, and also on-premises databases backup support for recovery service. So really, we want to make recovery service essentially evolve it into anywhere, any place, right? And wherever you have your database, you can use this service for your data protection. That includes, again, incremental forever backups, the real-time protection, the redo transport. All those facilities are available now universally in some ways. So this is a can't miss session to learn kind of the latest updates that we'll have for AI World. On Thursday, we have the recovery appliance learning session called Next Gen Intelligent Data and Ransom Protection. That is the 16th at 10:15 a.m. You can discover how the database and recovery appliance, or ZDLRA, deliver zero data loss recovery, fast, low impact backups, and ransomware resilience to safeguard your business. So it's a survey of all the capabilities and how customers have used them, right, to protect their environments. And we'll also have a customer speak on their use case as well there. So it's going to be a lot of great information, a lot of new things to learn about. We're excited again to do this and to provide kind of an opportunity, right, to be able to hear us and to meet us and feedback to us directly again. we'll also be at the demo booths for the October 5th, 14th, and 15th in that area and exhibit hall. If you want to meet with us there on a one-on-one basis, please also send your request via the Ask a Question feature on this office hours page. So we are very much uh, you know in tuned and want to learn kind of more needs, and so anytime we get that opportunity, we want to make sure you're aware of this too. So just log that question on this office hours page, and we'll follow up with you. All right, so let's move to the new ZDLRA RA23-Z hardware offering. This was announced on September 11th. This is a lower capacity and also cost optimized entry point hardware in the recovery appliance product family now. So we have essentially heard from customers that they may not have the database environment volume and really the number of databases to really justify a recovery appliance standard model we call the RA23. So we've heard about this over the last few years, and our technologies has come to a point where we can basically create and leverage the existing components for a more cost optimized um, hardware entry point. So if you look at kind of the main difference here is in the RA23Z hardware, we offer 6 by 22 terabytes hard drives in the storage server. So this is half the number of disks there are in the standard RA23, which is 12 22 terabyte disks in the storage server. With that said, the base rack, which is the starting rack of the RA23Z, just like the standard RA23 itself, that is 3 storage servers and 2 compute. Those are fixed in the system, is 135 terabytes of usable capacity, which you can grow to 779 terabytes in a full rack. That's 17 storage servers in a rack. This base rack of 135 terabytes of backup capacity is suitable for protecting a collective size of databases less than 100 terabytes. This is a back of the envelope kind of high level estimate, if you will. If you are wanting to pursue and understand more, you can obviously contact your sales team and they can do some more specific sizing. But just to give you a ballpark idea that the system is really meant for a, a smaller set of database environments. So again, less than 100 terabytes. You can add storage servers to grow this rack if your needs grow as well. But from a starting basis standpoint, that is less than 100 terabytes. The base rack list price for the hardware and software is 30% less than the standard RA23 base rack. So again, the components and the assembly and the manufacturing process that we have for the RA23, we're able to now offer this lower capacity version in a much more cost-effective way. We were able to do that and also be able to scale, do this at scale for our global customer base. As I mentioned, you can expand this rack with storage servers up to 17 max. You can only expand that with the RA23Z storage servers. You can't mix the RA23 standard storage servers with the Zs. So what does this give you? Well, if you're a smaller customer, obviously this is something you should take a look at and see if this might meet your needs. Okay. But also, even for larger customers, you have hundreds and hundreds of terabytes worth of databases. You can experience all of the ransom resiliency and the protection capabilities in our product first for your smaller environment, a smaller set of databases. And once you get comfortable with that and understand kind of behavior and kind of the metrics and from a under testing and trial period, you can then adopt the RA23 for wider usage. So the main, again, capabilities for the recovery appliance centers around zero-day loss protection. That's through our redo transport technology, where you get to recover to the last committed transaction, 0 to sub-second RPOs. Second being zero impact to the database of data anomaly detection. So we essentially check all the blocks in the backups as they're received, as they're stored on disk, as they're replicated, as they're uh, restored. We do a very deep check of each of the blocks to make sure that they are consistent, and we flag issues when we do discover them with physical corruptions or other kinds of compromises or alignment of these data blocks. High performance, resource efficient incremental firmware backup. This is a huge mainstay of our recovery appliance technology, that is being able to eliminate full backups from your backup schedule, which can take quite a long time for larger databases, and just focus on and just require the incremental only backups. These incrementally only backups yield daily virtualized full backups, which is our next bullet. Every incremental that you take to the recovery appliance becomes a new virtual full backup. And you can then recover using that full backup, just like a normal RMAN full backup. And you can get right to the day that you need it, as opposed to the last week or the 2 weeks ago, whenever you took the last full backup. So great way to try out the new technologies and then look at adopting the RA23 as you broaden your usage. And just to kind of cover the configurations, 135 terabytes again, starting with the base rack. That's 3 storage servers. Each storage server in the RA23Z is 45 terabytes of usable capacity. You can go up to 17 in a single rack. And as you expand, you can see it goes to, in the middle, 411 terabytes when you have 9 storage servers. And you can go to a full rack of RA23Z, which is 17 storage servers, and that's 779 terabytes of usable capacity. For more resources here for RA23Z, we require, and when you install this will be kind of the software versions you'll need for the ZDLRA, which is the June PSU, and the Exadata software version is 25.16 or 25.2. Those are the 25.x is the latest Exadata software line that we support. You can also get the OECA and OEDA assistance as for your deployment. Those links have been updated with the RA23Z support. You can read more details of the RA23Z as well on our announcement blog, which is here. And you can find the data sheet and documentation at our normal recovery appliance website, oracle.com/ZDLRA. And again, we have our central ransomware resiliency solutions page that you can go to kind of understand from a cyber resiliency perspective how our technologies fit. All right, so we'll now move to a update on the Oracle supplied cloud backup modules and the options and the support that we offer in cloud providers. So this is for OCI object storage, AWS S3, Azure Blob Storage, and Google Cloud Storage. These modules are for object storage. This is different than the recovery service. The recovery service is an integrated OCI service that's available only for OCI database services. That's ExaDVD, BaseDB, and ADVD. So the first thing, so these modules you've probably seen before, but there are some new ones. So one of the sort of first update that I want to hit on is that these backup modules that Oracle supplies to connect to these object storage destinations, they are not downloadable from this point on. Meaning, we did have a support note on my Oracle support which would have locations where you could download the latest backup modules. This is for RMAN to interface in order to back up to these cloud destinations. We've actually moved these modules right into the database release itself. So every database release and RU that's available will now have the latest and greatest backup modules for that release. Okay, so that's what you're going to use is just use the libraries that are delivered with the database release at this point. So for OCI object storage module, you're going to use 1927 release or 20.4 and later. The same is true for the AWS S3 backup module. For the Azure Blob Storage module, that is a new one. That is available in 19.28 and 23.8 and later releases. And we plan to support the Google Cloud Storage destination at a future time. And again, you'll be using these directly from the Oracle home of these databases. Now, I want to go through now kind of a matrix of the supported use cases for these modules. It's very important to pay attention to because as our world, goes from on-premises into cloud, into Oracle DB cloud services with the automation, right? That's part of it. Really have to understand kind of how our support for these modules work. So as you look at the left side, these are the various services and environments where your database could run. And on the top, these are all the backup services, if you will, listed. And if you look at, the first row, that's the exited database service on dedicated infrastructure. This does support recovery service, obviously. The automation presents that as soon as you go into the cloud database dashboard, you'll see a selection to use recovery service as your destination. You also see the ability to use OCI object storage. And when you have the Oracle managed AWS S3 bucket, that service is not available. So this would be in our OCI if you're just using that database service. And that is true also for the S3 customer buckets, Azure Blob Storage, and Google Cloud Storage. Okay. If you look, if you look at those options, those options are also the same for the Exadata database service on exascale infrastructure that you see here. One row down, you also see that for base database service, that's in OCI. And then let's move to now the fourth row down, which is the Oracle database at AWS. So the recovery service you'll see is yes with an asterisk. And the asterisk means that the destination in the cloud dashboard, okay, when you're in the database at AWS dashboard, that destination is recovery service at OCI today. I mentioned before that we will be offering recovery service at AWS as well, and that will be announced and highlighted in a future session. So you do have recovery service, but it's at OCI, okay, for DB at AWS. We do support OCI object storage, and the automation does support the Oracle managed AWS S3 bucket. This is the Oracle managed, your customer or the AWS database, DB at AWS, is a customer managed database side. Okay. So two different tenancies, if you will, that we have there. For AWS S3 customer managed buckets, that is not supported for DB at AWS. That means that using the module as is, installing and configuring it on a DB at AWS instance for your customer managed buckets is not supported. And the reason being is that the automation we have in DB at AWS is fairly extensive and has a lot of dependencies. So when you do install your own S3 module and start taking RMAN backups, say scripted and so forth, that can interfere with the automation and issues can arise, and we've seen lots of issues actually have arisen, and it's not a good operational model. So we basically said it's not supported from that standpoint. So you must use the Oracle managed AWS S3 bucket there. This Similarly, we don't support Azure Blob Storage or Google Cloud Storage destinations for DB at AWS. For Oracle database at Azure, we do offer recovery service at Azure. So you can see that it is yes. That's available since last year. And we do support OCI object storage as a backup destination. And the rest of the destination you see there is no for DB at Azure. That is the same for Oracle database at Google, okay, in that row. And now let's move to the Oracle databases on premises row, next to the last here. We will support on-prem databases, backups, and real-time protection with recovery service in the near future. So I referenced that already in our AI World session, but yes, we do intend to support that. We believe this technology is light years above and ahead of what you can get with traditional object storage backups. And so we want to make that available to all customers now, both cloud database customers and on-premise database customers. So it's a future item. So today, if you look in your available options, you have the OCI object storage module for DB on premises, and for Oracle managed AWS S3 that is not supported bucket, because this would be your own kind of tenants, so it's your own environment that you're running. So you'll be using your own customer bucket on an S3. You'll see that as yes in this column here. And then for Azure Blob Storage and Google Cloud Storage, those are also yes. For your Oracle databases in a customer VM, so we distinguish this row because your customer VM could be on premise, but it also could be a customer VM in a cloud provider. You might be running a database just standalone in a VM or bare metal kind of server environment. And so that database will be supported for recovery service, just like the on-prem database in a future release when it's announced. And also for OCI object storage destination that can be done today, just with the standard backup module. And then you see here that the rest of the selections are, again, the same for options. Oracle managed S3, AWS S3 customer bucket, Azure Blob Storage, and Google Cloud Storage. These are supported modules for Oracle databases in customer VM. I probably have gone through a lot of combinations. I've gone through a lot of cases, so we do have a more straightforward region chart, which shows you which database services are available in which regions. You can see that here. This will clarify kind of where you can run these particular database environments. Okay. So that is the end of this month's session. I'm looking at the Q&A. See what we've got for Q&A here. Okay, we have one question about version Z supporting, okay, ZDLRA RA23-Z supporting real-time transport and all features like backups to OCI and so on. Okay, yes, RA23-Z does support real-time transport. There are no difference of features from a software standpoint for the RA23-Z. Backups to OCI, yes. So you do get the ability to archive to OCI Cloud Object Storage. You can archive to ZFS for on-premises archives. Yes, those are all supported there. And next question is, in the OCI Cloud Cost Estimator, I see two new items, ARS Cloud Protect and ZRCV Cloud Protect. Are these SKUs for on-premises DB backups to ZRCV? Okay. These items are in preparation for our support for on-premises DB backups. You see Cloud Protect there, and Cloud Protect is our feature name for this for the on-premises custom VM backup support to recovery service. The service itself is not GA yet, okay, but you'll be hearing about this soon. Okay. So you'll see that these SKUs might show up, but they're not usable now. Okay. So once they are GA, we'll send the announcement out. We'll definitely highlight this on the next Tom session as well. What RMN backup? Okay, a third question. When RMN backups to ZDLRA, does it get compression by default? Um, Good question. So there there is a uh, option when you set up the RMAN channel command for a parameter called RA underscore format. And that parameter, yes or no, controls whether the RMAN and recovery appliance backup module will will run compression on the backups on the database side before they're sent to recovery appliances. So that is a totally, toggle switch that you can use or not use. It's called space efficient encrypted backups. And we believe it's the best way to take backups to recovery appliance because it can encrypt and compress all the backups to the recovery appliance with incremental forever. You do have to be running Linux in your databases. That's including Exadata, obviously, to use this feature. But that is would be our recommendation if you have those environments is to run with the RA format equal true. That will compress the data. That will help shrink the network consumption even further by compressing that data with incremental forever. If you don't use that option, then RMN will send normal uncompressed backups to recovery appliance, and the recovery appliance will attempt to apply compression on top of those incoming backups. So you will get some of that ability on the recovery appliance side, but you will not get the encryption. The encryption part we've seen has become a much more big deal, especially with the ransomware discussions and a lot of security requirements now require the source data, wherever it is, database or otherwise, to be encrypted already at the source. So that compression on the recovery appliance cannot effectively compress encrypted data. So that is why if you do have an encryption requirement, you should implement that RA format equal true parameter. That will give you the encryption and compression at the RMAN side as it's generating the backup, and it remains encrypted and compressed throughout the backup lifecycle. We've seen customers also use just RMAN compression, by itself. So you can just say compress backup set to recovery appliance. What will happen though is the recovery appliance has to decompress that backup set, do the indexing and processing into virtual fulls, and then it does another compression algorithm that I just mentioned on its own. So it actually does extra work if you send it with an RMAN, strictly this RMAN compression, okay, kind of parameter. So we wouldn't recommend doing that because it also doesn't help the restore because the restore will always be uncompressed during restore, so you won't get that advantage on the restore. So yeah, just to summarize, use RA format equal true if your environment is compatible, that is Linux, and you have to be running Oracle DB 19.18 or higher, and that'll give you both benefits, encryption and compression. You may choose not to use encryption. In fact, you can decide you just want compression, and the feature will do that for you. All right. We got another question. Do you confirm that we will announce the ability to back up on-premise database to ARS in cloud? We will be announcing this in the near future. Yeah, as you saw in the AI World session, and we talk about the supported backup options, right, in the cloud. This will be available in a soon to be release. Um, just keep your eyes open. Watch for our product pages, which will update for this feature. Um, the following Tom session will also cover it. We'll have blogs that are available. So yeah, just keep your eyes open for that. Okay. All right. These are great questions here. And we've got 15 minutes left. If anybody wants to ask a question on the line, try making your audio available if you want to raise your hand and ask a question. All right, I'm not seeing any of the questions here. No hands raised. So appreciate you all joining our session today. This recording will be posted. Again, if you are attending AR World, looking to submit your request to attend those invite-only sessions we have on Monday for the Ransomware Resiliency Roundtable, the Recovery Appliance Customer Advisory Board, and the Recovery Service Customer Forum events. Log your request and ask a question in the field of the session, and then we will follow up with you. So with that, we'll wish you a good day, and we'll speak to you next month. Bye for now.